الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا هل أدلكم على تجارة تنجيكم من عذاب أليم تؤمنون بالله ورسوله وتجاهدون في سبيل الله بأموالكم وأنفسكم ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope everyone is safe and they're doing great, being safe, trying to protect themselves as much as possible. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove this pandemic from us as soon as possible. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. My brothers and sisters and elders, we as humans, we put a lot of effort in order to attain our livelihood. We go through many hardships and difficulties, and we bear them. We bear these difficulties because we know that at the end of the day, there is an opening. We know that there is happiness after. We know there's benefit. There's success into it. So we strive. We put a lot of effort into it. And this is for our worldly matters. We do this so that we can be, we can take care of ourselves, we can provide our family, and etc. And this is all for our dunya, our world, our worldly matters. But remember, if there is a good intention, then definitely there is a great reward also. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the other hand, He tells us that, shall I not guide you? Shall I not show you? Shall I not let you know about a trade, an exchange that will not only protect you in this dunya, but will also protect you in the hereafter? Protection in this dunya and in the hereafter. Success in this dunya and in the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Saf, ayah number 10, يا أيها الذين آمنوا هل أدلكم على تجارة تنجيكم من عذاب أليم. O you who believe, shall I not guide you? Shall I not show you a trade which requires very minimum, a small capital, a small effort, which requires minimum effort, but it promises great, it promises tremendous reward. He says, تُنْجِيكُم مِّنْ عَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. It will save you, that will save you from the painful punishment. A trade that will grant bounties in the Jannah forever, and you'll be protected in this dunya also, inshallah, and it will protect you from the hellfire also. What is this trade? What is this amazing trade? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the next ayah, تُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَتُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. That you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. تُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. You believe in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the only one that you worship. وَرَسُولِهِ. You believe in the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that he is the last and final messenger. And you obey and you bring into your life whatever he has come with. وَتُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ وَأَنفُسِكُمْ. And that you strive in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with your wealth, with your possessions, and your lives. You give yourself. You are ready to strike in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is best for you. ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. This is best for you, this for your prosperity in this dunya and in the hereafter, for the both worlds. If only you knew. On the other hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions about al-halaka. In this ayah, He mentions about najat tunjikum. In Surah Al-Baqarah, He says, وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Do not throw yourselves, do not throw your own hands, do not lead yourself into destruction by failing to fulfill the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by failing to fulfill the duties towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or putting yourself into harm. Now, speaking of najat and halaka, our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gives the ummah, he gives us 12 advices. 12 advices to the ummah. In these 12 advices, he mentions that the first three are al-muhlikat. They're matters that destroy, they're destructive, they're harmful, they ruin a person. And the next three he mentions are munjiyat, matters that protect, that save, that grant security and safety to a person. And then the next three are kafarat, are expiations. They forgive sins by committing, by doing an action. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive other sins. SubhanAllah. And number four, he mentions that the next three are darajat. They're stairs. They are steps, basically. They raise a person's status. They elevate. They make him advance. Take him to a higher level. They raise his rank in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, I will start from the first one today. And whatever we can cover, we'll cover today. And in the next Jumu'ahs to come, we'll try to cover slowly these 12 advices of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. عن عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله عنهما قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاث مهلكات وثلاث منجيات وثلاث كفارات وثلاث درجات فأما المهلكات. So there are these 12. Three of them are muhlikat, three of them are munjiyat, for the three are destructive, and then the three that saves, and then three are kafarat, expiations, and then the three that are steps and that raise a person. فَأَمَّا الْمُهْلِكَاتِ. As for the matters, as for the destructive matters, the first of them, فَشُحٌ مُطَاعٌ, is greed, miserliness, which is obeyed. شح مطاع, greed, which is obeyed. Now there's a difference between shuh and bukhl. Shuh is something, this is even a higher level, because shuh is that you want to attain, you want something that you do not have, number one. And number two, at the same time, what other person might have, you want that also. Sorry, so the shuh is, you don't want to give what you have. You want to hoard it, you don't want to let it go. And what someone else has, you want that also. That's shuh. And bukhl is whatever you have, you do not want to share, basically. Shuh is a characteristic that invites many other evil characteristics. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَمَنْ يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. That those who are protected, who are saved from the miserliness, from the greed of their souls, they are the ones that are successful. They are the ones who will attain salvation. And those who submit to their greed are those who are the losers. As I said, shuh is a characteristic that invites many other evil characteristics, many other evil qualities. That is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has warned us a lot. As it comes in hadith in Abu Dawood, he mentioned some of the evil qualities that shuh brings in. Abu Dawood, the narration is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, "Iyyakum wash-shuh, فإنما هلك من كان قبلكم بالشح." That abstain from greed, avarice. For those who were before you were destroyed due to greed. What happened? Number one, أمرهم بالبخل فبخلوا. That it commanded them to show miserliness, to be stingy, and they obeyed. Number two, وَأَمَرَهُمْ بِالْقَطِيعَةِ فَقَطَعُوا. And it commanded them to break ties, break relations with the nearest relatives. And they obeyed, they committed. This happened in Bani Israel. وَأَمَرَهُمْ بِالْفُجُورِ فَفَجَرُوا. Number three. And it commanded them to do shameless acts, immoral actions. So they showed. And in another hadith, which is in Al-Adab al-Mufrad of Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi, number four, وَحَمَلَهُمْ عَلَىٰ أَنْ سَفَكُوا دِمَاءَهُمْ. Agreed, it led them to shed one another's blood. SubhanAllah. From bukhl to breaking relations, to doing shameless acts, to even killing, to even shedding blood of one another. وَاسْتَحَلُّوا مَحَارِمَهُمْ. Number five, and it made them make lawful what was unlawful for them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. So we can understand from this that how bad and how evil is shuh, that it invites many other evil characteristics. This is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has said, "Ma sharru ma fi rajulin shuhun hali'un wa jubnun khali'un." That what is evil in a man is, there are two things. There's two things. May Allah save us from them. Number one, an alarming greed, restless, burning greed, hali'. Number two, jubnun khali', and unrestrained cowardice. Cannot even speak up for the truth. And many other things. May Allah save us from that. As it comes in the hadith, when the qiyamah will come closer, when the hour will be closer, يَتَقَارَبُ zaman. What will happen? Many things will happen. One of them, and mentioned in the hadith, is that the people's heart will be filled with greed. The hadith is in Sahihain, Bukhari and Muslim. The people's heart, it will be filled with greed. Hafiz ibn Hajar rahmatullahi alayhi, Ibn Hajar Asqalani rahmatullahi alayhi, while explaining the hadith, he mentions that there will be greed. It's at different levels and different types, according to the person. Basically, a scholar, what he would do, he would stop teaching and he would stop spreading the knowledge. That's greed also. An engineer, he would keep his engineering, his secrets and experience with him. He would not share with others. And he says that a wealthy person will want to keep the wealth with him. He would not want to share with the poor and needy. That's also greed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from greed. Now, how do we save ourselves? How do we save ourselves? How do we save ourselves from being greedy, from being selfish, from being stingy, from being, bakhil? How do we do that? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he tells us the cure for that. What is the remedy? عن خالد بن زيد بن جارية رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ثلاث من كن فيه, that a person who has these three characteristics in him, what would happen? وقي شح نفسه. That person will be saved from the greed of his soul, miserliness of his soul. He will be saved. What are those three things? May Allah grant us tawfiq to do them. Number one, man adda zakah, a person who fulfills his obligations by paying the zakah. Number two, waqar al-dayf, he takes care, he feeds, he honors his guests. He's happy when there's someone comes over. He's happy to feed them. He takes care of them. Waqar al-dayf. Number three, wa'a'ta fi al-na'iba, and he feeds and he spends on those who are in difficulty. He spends on those, he gives to those who are in difficulty, who are in need. So these are the three characteristics. If a person has them in them, then inshallah that will save him from greed. Now, when you look at these three characteristics, even any of them, it is all about giving. It is all about spending. It is all about generosity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those who look after others and not be selfish. The second characteristic Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam he mentions from the muhlikat that are destructive, that are harmful. Number two is وهو المتبع اتباع الهوى. Second characteristic that will destroy a person is اتباع الهوى. Desire which is followed. Desires which are followed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warns us in the Quran many ayats. Many ayats. In fact, Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, he says that whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about al-hawa, desires, arbitrary views based on whim and personal opinions, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? What does Ibn Abbas say? He says that every time it's mentioned in the Quran, it's in maqam al-dham, something blameworthy in regards to it. And there are many examples in the Quran. I'll mention some of them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-A'raf, وَاتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ فَمَثَلُهُ كَمَثَلِ الْكَلْبِ, that he followed his desires. His example is like the dog. You put a load on him, he'll pant with its tongue out. إن تحمل عليه يلهث أو تتركه يلهث. Even if you leave it alone, it'll pant with its tongue out. وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ مِمَّنِ اتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ بِغَيْرِ هُدًى مِّنَ اللَّهِ. And who can be more unjust and misguided than the one who follows his whims without any guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in another surah, وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْهَوَى فَيُضِلَّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Do not follow your carnal passions, which will mislead you from the path of, mislead you from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says in another ayah, أَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَى. Have you seen the one who has taken his whims, his wishes and desires as an ilah, as a god? One who does whatever his desires dictate. That's what it basically means. So what we understand from here is that ahwa, desire of the soul, nafs, it never tells a person to do good. The nafs never tells a person to do good. It always recommends him to do evil or not to follow the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have to overcome that. We have to overcome that. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullahi alayhi says that a person who follows his desires, what happens? His desires, they make him blind. They make him deaf to the truth, blind to the truth. He forgets. He does not know what the Sharia is asking him. He does not look at what is Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asking him. His happiness, his anger is no more for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will be happy when his nafs is happy. And he will be angry according to his desire. That is why Sayyidina Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says that إِنَّ أَخْوَفْ مَا تَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ, that there are two things that I fear upon you the most. What are these two things? Number one, طُولُ الْأَمَلِ, high hopes. Right? Doing nothing for the akhirah and then having high hopes. Even in the dunya, طُولُ الْأَمَلِ, high hopes. Number two, he says, اتباع الهوى, following the desires. When a person has high hopes, طول الأمل, it makes him forget about the akhirah, number one. And number two, who follows his desires, it stops a person from following the truth. Bishr al-Hafi rahmatullahi alayhi says, البلاء كله في هواك والشفاء كله في مخالفتك إياه. Allahu Akbar. He says all the problems and distress that comes, all of them, it is because of you following your desires. And what is the cure for that? How and what is the cure? And the entire cure is in disobeying it. Opposite. That is why our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us. Now, how do we come actually our desires? The answer you'll find is in this hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was asked a question. Two things. Number one, who is the most wise and intellectual person? And number two, who is the most foolish person? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he gives us an amazing answer. He tells the Sahabi, number one, al-kayyisu man dana nafsahu wa amila lima ba'da al-maut. Number two, والعاجز من أتبع نفسه هواها وتمنى على الله. That the wise man is the one who takes account of himself. He refrains from doing evil deeds. وعمل لما بعد الموت, and strives for that which is after death. Does noble deeds, he does good deeds that will benefit him after death, in the hereafter. You know, just like a businessman. Take an example as a businessman. What does he do? At the end of the day, he counts everything. He sees, did he make any profit? Did he gain anything? Or is he in loss? If he is in loss, what happens? He checks, why is there a loss? What happened? What did I do wrong? Did someone cheat me? What happened? What? And for that reason, he can't even sleep. His sleep is even ruined. Right? His sleep is even ruined. Now, in the same manner, a person who thinks of the hereafter and who knows that he will have to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that person, when he makes a mistake, when he commits a sin, what happens? What should happen? If it's not happening, then this should happen. He should not be able to sleep anymore. He should be repenting in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, crying in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then why did I make a mistake? Just like that businessman. When he makes a loss, he's worried. When he is in loss, he's worried. In the same manner, an intellect person, when what he does good deeds, refrains from the evil, and if he makes a mistake, he repents. He's worried because he has to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in order to control the ittiba'u al-hawa, in order to control the desires of our nafs, always keep in mind the hereafter, that I will be accountable. I will be accountable for whatever I do. I'm listening to my nafs, but I have to remember that I will be accountable for whatever I do. And that should save a person from that. And number two, the hadith, وَالْعَاجِزُ مَنْ أَتْبَعَ نَفْسَهُ هَوَاهَا وَتَمَنَّى عَلَى اللَّهِ. And the foolish person is, the helpless and foolish person is the one who follows his own whims, desires, temptations, and merely hopes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the second destructive matter is ittiba'ul hawa, following desires. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he would in fact make dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min munkarati al-akhlaqi wal-a'mali wal-ahwa. O Allah, I seek refuge in you from the evil characteristics of and from evil characteristics and from evil actions and desires. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all. So this is the second destructive matter, harmful matter. Inshallah, we'll discuss the number three, the third matter that is also destructive and harmful, and from that we'll continue also. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك والسلام عليكم